Look, it's only a matter of time until you find yourself on a big old film set. If you're anything like me, your career is going well and you're looking forward to that first big production day. But there's a bunch of phrases that you're probably gonna hear when you're on set. Today, we're gonna go over just a small handful of the weird things that you're gonna hear on a big Hollywood film set. Welcome to The Creative Block. My name is Nick Friend. This is where we talk about what it's like and what it takes to work full-time in the creator economy. And sometimes that means talking about movies. And that's what we're doing today. If you don't know me, I used to work in Hollywood. I used to work on big feature films and television shows, stuff like Planet of the Apes, True Detective, Hot Tub Time Machine. I have experience on these big sets, and I've heard these phrases and didn't know what they mean the first time I heard them, so I'm a lot like you. One of the first things you might hear somebody say is when they're talking about lighting, they might call it a little bit sourcey. And if you don't know what that means that the light source that you're working with to light your scene is feeling like a light. It's not feeling natural. It's not feeling like it's coming from the environment. It feels like it's coming from a light source. Now, with an interview, that makes perfect sense. But when you're doing something that's more narrative or a little bit more intimate or a little bit more indie, something that doesn't really require lighting to be that overt, you don't want items to be that sourcey. You don't want your lights to be that sourcey. You don't want people to sort of realize that you have a light in the scene for the scene that you're lighting, if that makes any sense. So yeah, when somebody says something is a little sourcey, maybe it's too bright, maybe it's too directional, maybe it's too this, too that. Either way, you want to sort of make it more subtle. Whatever it is, just dumb it down a bit. Next thing you might hear somebody say is, I need a cutter. And when somebody is asking for a cutter, usually you hear this from a gaffer or somebody in the lighting department. What they're asking for is a piece of black fabric that's usually on some sort of metal frame that they can use to cut the light out. So they can use something like a 24 by 36 or 4 by, or sometimes even an 8 by to sort of cut off the light to make it more shaped to the desired effect of what they're trying to do. Normally, you just don't need a massive light source, though that's usually where you start. So you use cutters to shape it after you have the light source set up. The next one is kind of a weird one. It's Gary Coleman. Now, if you don't know who Gary Coleman is, he was an actor from I think the 70s and 80s. And his sort of claim to fame was that he was just a very small man. He was like 4 feet tall. He was incredibly small. And as a result, there was a light stand named after him. And it's like a combo stand, but it only goes up to about here. So if somebody asks for Gary Coleman, they want a really sturdy, really short light stand. The next one is one of my favorites, and it's a happy butt. You heard me right. I said happy butt. A happy butt is literally just something soft that you put on top of an apple box when you set up an apple box New York style, which means the tallest way. I have a video up here that I made about some other film phrases that you might come across. Go ahead and check that one out after you're done watching this one. Happy butt is literally just putting something soft on top of an apple box so that it's a little bit more comfortable to sit on. You can actually get sleeves that are called happy butts that just fit right on top of an apple box. I think people sort of sleep on happy butts. They're pretty great. Like, it's just one of those quality of life things you didn't think you needed until you have it. Now you're like, I don't want anything else. The next two I'm talking about kind of go together. And the first one is a redhead. Redhead is a light that is 800 watts or thereabout. Likewise, if somebody asks for a blonde, they want a light source that is somewhere between 1 and 2,000. So somebody asks for a redhead, they're looking for an 800 watt light. If somebody asks for a blonde, they're looking for a light that's between 1,000 and 2,000 watts. I'm not making any jokes. We're moving on. Last one I want to talk about is the honey wagon. If you don't know what the honey wagon is, that's where you go to poop. That's what it is. Nothing left to say. If you like this video, prove it by liking it.